swinging. Backer throws. There's a long drive. It's going to be, I believe, the Giants from the pivot. The Giants from the pivot. The Giants from the pivot.
Scoring miles ahead of him. It's number 12 for Mantle in World Series.
Action. There's a hard drive. It's a deep drive. And forget about it. It is gone. The ball game's over.
Here in the Los Angeles Bulls. Watson hits it high in the air. For the center fielder, Ken Landreau, this should do it. The Dodgers are the 1981 champions of baseball.
Sees that number today with 3 hits. This could be 4. Back it goes. It's over. The Red Sox win, and they're moving on up.
Put his team ahead. The Dodgers, who hit 118 home runs during the regular year, have just hit their 16th home run of the championship series.
What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of Between the Lines. I am your host, Tanner Kern, and this show is dedicated to all things baseball. I'm so happy that you joined me tonight. We are less than 1 week away from opening day. Yeah, let that sink in. Less than 1 week. Opening day is on Thursday. Massive slate of games, some huge matchups, some great series to open up the season. But we have not finished previewing all the divisions on Between the Lines. So tonight we're going to do the American League West. And then next week on Tuesday, we're going to do the American League Central and the NL Central. We're going to combine both divisions to get them in. Before Thursday, we'll have a show on Thursday as well, talking about all the updates from opening day from the early games. So it's going to be a great week on Between the Lines. Tonight, we got the American League West. It's going to be a good division, not a great division. I wouldn't put it anywhere near the American League East or the American League Central. But it's still a decent division. There's some star power left. You got the Houston Astros, you know they'll always be good. And the Angels. The Angels could be the surprise this year and win the division if some things go their way. So let's get into it. So here's the standings courtesy of RotoChamp. These are just projections. Obviously the season hasn't started yet, but they have the Houston Astros winning the division, followed by the Angels, then the Athletics, the Mariners, and the Rangers. I think it's a three-way race at the top. I really do. I think Houston has the best chance of winning the division, and I know they have the Astros at 92 wins and then the Angels at 83. I don't know if the Astros are 9 wins better than the Angels. If the Angels step off, if Mike Trout, Anthony Rendon, and Shohei Ohtani hit, they're going to be tough to beat. Now, they have a few holes that they didn't go out and get guys in the offseason. It would have been great to see them go get a Trevor Bauer, but they didn't do that, so they're going to have to win with what they got. But they have potential this year. Do not count them out. Then you got the Athletics. Athletics won the division last year. I think they will have another chance to win the division once again. I know that might sound crazy for some people because they had lost Liam Hendricks closing games, so their bullpen's going to be a little weaker. But they went out and they got 4 dudes who should be very helpful for them. They have a solid lineup with Matt Chapman and Matt Olson. If those two can hit, they could be pretty dangerous. Last season, they didn't even hit the ball, and the Athletics still played very well. They won the division. The Mariners and the Rangers at the bottom, they're not going to do anything, but I think the Mariners could play a spoiler in some fashion. I don't think the Rangers have much left, especially if they trade a guy like Joey Gallo at the deadline, who is their whole team as far as offense. He should hit about 40 home runs, so if they get rid of him, they are going to have a tough time scoring runs. So let's get into the Rangers. The Rangers, they're going to have Isaiah Kinner lead off, followed by Willie Calhoun and Joey Gallo. Like I said before, Joey Gallo is a machine. Look at that swing. Look at that bat path. I mean, the ball just flies off his bat. It sounds different. I know that's kind of a cliche phrase that you get when a guy can really hit the ball, but when the ball leaves Joey Gallo's bat, it sounds different. And he is also a Gold Glove recipient. He won the Gold Glove in right field last year in 2020. Now, I know it was a shortened season, but he's a solid right fielder, and he's a big dude too, which is saying something. I mean, he values defense and he values offense. So he's very, very valuable to this team. Now, they could get rid of him at the deadline because the Rangers are rebuilding and they need a lot of help, and he could be a great guy to get some young prospects in their division. Or he could also help them get a stud that could help them down the road that has a little more time on his contract, but he is going to be a free agent at the end of 2022, so do not be surprised if they release him in the offseason. Then you got David Dahl. I think David Dahl was a phenomenal pickup. Not a big power guy. He should hit about 15 to 20 home runs, which is solid, driving about 50 batters, especially if Joey Gallo can get on in front of him. And I think he'll have a lot of success in Texas because Joey Gallo is going to bat in front of him, because pitchers are not going to want to pitch to Gallo. They're going to put people on, and they're going to have to pitch to Dahl. They're going to have to give him balls over the plate, and hopefully he produces. Hopefully he comes up big and the Rangers can score a few runs. Then you got Nick Solak, Ronald Guzman, Jose Trevino, Rougned Odor, and Leody Taveras. You know, not a great lineup. The Rangers are filled with a lot of veterans that haven't done much in their time in the MLB, so it should be an interesting season. But Joey Gallo, that's what you got to know about the offense. He is a machine. He is the guy that you need to watch this year, because if he produces, the Rangers could overtake the Mariners in the division for that last spot, the fourth spot. If not, they will be in fifth. There's 100%. They're not that good because they only have one power hitter in their lineup, and this game is won with home runs. On the mound, you got Kyle Gibson, Mike Foltynewicz. I think Mike Foltynewicz could do pretty well here, actually. They picked him up in the offseason. I think he's a guy that should have a 4.8 ERA, which isn't great, but when we're talking about the Rangers, this is pretty good. I mean, because the end of the starting rotation is pretty rough with Kohei Ariara, Jordan Lyles, Dane Dunning, and Colby Allard. Those guys aren't going to do much. They're all going to have ERAs either over 5 or very close to 5, which with this offensive lineup, it's going to be very difficult to win games. The bullpen, you got Ian Kennedy closing games. I like Ian Kennedy. I don't know if he is a great closer for this team, but I think he will do okay. Now, again, the Rangers probably won't have a lot of leads going into the late innings, so don't look for Ian Kennedy to play a big role with this team. The guy that you want to watch out for is Taylor Hearn. He should throw 70 to 80 innings out of the pen this year. I don't think the starters are going to be able to go a lot of innings. I think Taylor Hearn is going to clean up the load that is left from these guys, and it could be pretty dirty. I don't know if they're going to be able to get many batters out, so we could see Taylor Hearn in early for a lot of games. Think of him as maybe a 7th starter because of the amount of work he is going to get out of the bullpen. I mean, the 5th and 6th starters on this team should probably throw about 120, 130 innings, so he's only going to be about 60 innings behind them from a bullpen spot, which is very significant. If Joey Gallo gets traded at the deadline, he's a 2022 free agent. The Rangers can kiss the season goodbye. Rangers fans, your team will officially be in a rebuild if they get rid of Joey Gallo. And that's probably a good thing because they need it. They really do. And then how bad is that rotation going to be? Kyle Gibson's a career 4.57 ERA guy, and he is going to be the person that takes the ball on opening day. Like Foltynewicz, he should be a nice backup to him, but again, he's a 4.5 ERA guy too. So, you know, it's going to be hard. He's coming from Atlanta. He's a one-time All-Star. Everyone on this team has had one breakout season, one decent year, but the consistency is just not there with the Rangers. And in the major leagues, it's all about numbers. Consistency wins games. So don't expect a lot from the Rangers, but the Mariners, don't count the M's out this year. Do not count the M's out. I really like the Mariners. It's a young team, and they are passionate about what they're doing right now. Everything I've heard from Mariner spring training, it's all positive. These guys want to play baseball. They want to be there. And that's something that you don't get in the majors with the older guys sometimes. Sometimes they don't want to be there. Sometimes they want to head home early. They don't want to put in the work because they're established. Not with the Mariners. The Mariners got J.P. Crawford at the top. I love J.P. Crawford, established guy, been there a while. Mitch Haniger, Kyle Lewis, and Kyle Seager. Kyle Seager is probably the best player ever to play on a terrible team. He's one of those guys that if he was in a big market like LA, like his brother Corey, on Players Weekend when they get to wear the jerseys with their own names on him, Kyle puts Corey's brother because that's the truth. He is in Corey's shadow because Corey is in LA. But this guy can play. He should be a guy that hits 25 to 30 bombs this year, 80 RBIs. And he's not a great batting average guy. He's a 240 batting average, but he gets on base, which is key. He's going to have a 320 to 330 ERA, and he is going to deliver most of the pop on this lineup. Mitch Haniger and Kyle Lewis should hit 20 to 25 bombs as well, but he is really going to be the guy that needs to step up at the plate this year. The pitching, Marco Gonzalez looks amazing. in spring training. James Paxton looks amazing as well. Marco Gonzalez, he's young. He is probably the most under the radar pitcher in baseball, in my opinion. And the thing about Marco Gonzalez that makes him so good is his ability to handle a lot of innings. He threw 209 innings in 2019. Didn't have the same numbers last year, obviously, because it was a shortened slate, but expect him to be big. James Paxton, he is back with the Mariners after 2 years with the Yankees. He has looked phenomenal in spring training. I think he could become that ace on this team, even though Gonzalez is going to get the ball on opening day. They're all 500 guys in the win-loss column. Should have a high 3 to a low 4 ERA, which is good. Not the best strikeout. This team doesn't have that strikeout guy. Behind him, you got Justice Sheffield, Chris Flexen, Justin Dunn. Nobody is a strikeout guy. I think the leader on this team with strikeouts at the end of the season is probably going to be around 150, which isn't great. A lot of the teams with aces are going well over 200 strikeouts, well over 200 innings. I think the highest, Marco Gonzalez is going to give you the most innings, probably 180 to 200, which would be very, very good coming off last season's 60-game slate, and especially the M's are going to go with a 6-man rotation this year. If they were going with a 5-man, maybe that would get Marco's innings up a little more, but since they'll have the 6-man rotation, I'm thinking 180. If someone gets hurt, he could push 200 if they elect to go with that 5-man rotation. In the bullpen, Rafael Montaro is going to close games. Really good closer. I like him a lot. Great strikeout pitcher. He should have about 70 to 80 strikeouts this year in 60 to 65 innings of work, I would say. But the M's just aren't there yet. They're not there, and that's the sad thing about it. And the M's are going into a strong rebuild because they have Kyle Seager. He's going to probably be traded at the deadline. I hate to say it. I wish he wasn't because he is the best player on this team. He's an all-star. He's a former Gold Glove, but the M's are probably going to get rid of their best player to get something else in their farm system. Now, speaking of their farm system, they have a very good minor league program. They develop well, they scout well, and they have a guy named Jared Kelenic who will not be on the opening day roster. He hurt his knee, but he probably would have been. He's a young guy. He was the 6th overall pick in 2018, and Kelenic rakes. He's an outfielder. He's got power. He is going to be a star. He is going to be the future of this franchise. He's the next Kyle Seager in Seattle. He is going to be the man. Here's a video of him going yard earlier in spring training before he hurt his knee.
Said I've dealt with minor league players, young players, for a long time before I got this job. The players will let you know when they're ready. They really will. And that's just not the physical part of the game. Go, keep going. That way.
And it's gone. Kelenic
Sorry, it's not
takes
just
it up and out.
Go ahead. Good day to hit here over in Mesa. The ball is carrying. Good for him.
What do you see on that swing? I know.
Now, the only thing to worry about with Kelenic is the knee, so don't expect the Mariners to rush him back this year because they're not in championship contention, obviously. The only thing you got to fix about Kelenic is his running form. He seemed a little weird running around those bases, and that was before he hurt his knee, so maybe he was having some early issues, I don't know, but he looked like he was running with the stick up, you know what. So Kelenic, fix the running form, but man, he's got a great glove, he's got a great bat, and he is going to be very good for this team for years to come before he hits free agency and they can't afford to pay him. So let's get into the Athletic, the A's. Oakland A's. I love the Oakland A's. I went to a game in the Oakland Coliseum a long time ago. Actually, I got to show you guys something. I got this ball, and this was one of my first major league games, actually. See if you can see it here. But I got this at the Oakland Coliseum. Great memories. I do love the A's because they're a team that wins without spending a lot of money. And I think that's the cool part about baseball. In football, you just don't get that. Everyone's spending the same amount of money on players. There's some really good teams, obviously, and there's some bad teams. But in baseball, it's great to see a small market team beat a big market team, in my opinion, unless it's the Dodgers last year. I really wanted to see the Dodgers win the World Series over Tampa Bay. They did that. But again, a story like Tampa Bay getting there with spending a fraction of what the Dodgers are spending on players. It's what makes baseball so special. So the Athletics, Ramon Laureano is going to lead off. Mark Canha will follow. Matt Chapman and Matt Olson in the 3 and 4 hole. Matt Chapman and Matt Olson, and even Canha and Laureano. Canha and Laureano are going to hit 20 to 25 home runs. Matt Chapman and Matt Olson are guys that need to be in the 35 to 40 home run range, and they are coming off terrible years last season. Matt Chapman had a 276 on-base percentage. That would be good if it was a batting average, but as an on-base percentage out of one of your guys that you're relying on, that's just not going to cut it. Matt Olson batted 195 in 2020. Now, I know you had the 60-game slate. I know you had the shortened season. I know you had the spring training, and then you had to go home and wait and not know what was coming and then go to summer camp and then play practice for 2 weeks and then play games. I understand that. But this is a full year this year. Let's see how they perform. They need to perform. They need to be better than they were last year. And they need to have some self-respect and actually step up and make at-bats, work at-bats, get walks, hit the ball out of the yard. That's what they're getting paid to do. I know it's probably not a lot because it's in Oakland, but that's what they're getting paid to do. If these guys can hit the 30 to 35, 35 to 40 home runs, anywhere in that range, bat 250 to 280 and get on base, have a 330 to 340 on base, they're going to be in good shape. The Athletics are a little weaker than they were last year. They're the reigning division champions. I don't think they'll win the division this year, but if they want to win the division, Matt Chapman and Matt Olson need to carry this team. Now behind Olson, you got Sean Murphy doing the catching. Mitch Moreland. I love Mitch Moreland. He's a Red Sox guy. And, I'm from Connecticut. I'm an unbiased baseball journalist, but I am from Connecticut, so I've seen Mitch Moreland play a lot, and I am just a big fan of him. He should hit 20 home runs. The problem with Mitch Moreland is big strikeout guy, big strikeout guy. He doesn't work as many walks as we'd like to see, but he can hit the ball. When the ball connects with his bat, it leaves the yard. So expect Moreland to have a decent year in the 6 hole. Then you got Steven Piscotty, Elvis Andrews, and Jed Lowry. All guys that are reputable ball players. They've done a lot in their time in the MLB. Are they still at their peak years? Are they still at their peak performance? No. That's why Chapman and Olson are going to have to carry this team offensively. Now, when you look at their lineup offensively, they do have a significantly better lineup than the Rangers, than the Mariners. They're not on the Rangers and Mariners level. They are still a top 3 team in this division, and they are in the hunt. But the Angels are better. The Astros are better, and I think that will show this year, especially if Chapman and Olson do not hit the baseball. Now, on the mound, Chris Bassett, Jesus Luzardo, Sean Manaea, Frankie Montas, A.J. Puck, and Dalton Jeffries. These guys have pitchers. They have reputable pitchers. Same thing with their lineup. No one's a superstar, but everyone has been good at some point in their career. That's what Oakland baseball. Oakland is all about winning games without spending a lot of money. Now, the question is with their starters, can they carry the load? Can they pitch those innings and get these guys to October? I don't think they have the ability to. Chris Bassett should have the most innings this year, and he's probably going to be a 160 guy. So the bullpen, they're really going to have to lean on them a lot. Jesus Luzardo is my pick on the staff. I think he is a phenomenal pitcher. Should have a 3.6, 3.7 ERA in there. He's that kind of pitcher. Should be a couple games over 500, and that's saying a lot with the lineup. If he could be even better if Chapman and Olson hit and they deliver and they score runs, give him some run support. Nobody on this team's a big strikeout guy, and that's the problem. You're going to see that a lot in this division, though, overall. There's not a pitcher on this. Even the Astros, who picked up some big guys in the offseason, or big for what was available this offseason, no one's a big-time strikeout guy. So this game is won with walks, strikeouts, and home runs. So everyone's on an equal playing field when it comes to division play. Trevor Rosenthal, I think Trevor Rosenthal was the best pickup that the Oakland A's got this year. Last year, he had a 91.7 save percentage, and he's going to be very good. He replaces Liam Hendriks, who left in free agency. The bullpen was going to be a big question mark heading the offseason. What were we going to see the front office do in Oakland? Were they going to make a commitment to try to win again? And they did that. They added Sergio Romo, Adam Clark, Nick Turley, and Trevor Rosenthal. So they made up for Liam Hendriks. They traded away a phenomenal arm for 4 average to above average arms. But I think it's going to pay off because the starting rotation is going to need a lot of help out of the bullpen. So the Athletics' ability to throw multiple guys at their competitors is really going to help. Matt Chapman, Matt Olson, like I said, they need to hit. The A's are a worse team than last year, but something about the A's, you can never count them out. They're always in the hunt because of just how they play baseball, how they're coached. So expect the A's to do something this year. Maybe make a late season push where you're like, okay, this team might be in the running. Who knows? But do not count the A's out yet, even though they're in third place, even though I think RotoChamp has them 15 games out of first place at the end of the year. Don't buy that. I think they could be a second place team. I think they could slip into a wild card conversation. And if a few injuries happen in the other teams and they stay healthy, could win this division. So let's get into the Angels. Now, if you have followed the Angels at all in spring training, you know about Shohei Ohtani this year. Shohei Ohtani was, he's battled some injuries past couple years. Last season, he wasn't great on the mound. I think he only had a couple appearances. He barely hit the ball, but Shohei Ohtani is back. And this team is on his shoulders. Anthony Rendon is going to hit the ball. Mike Trout's going to hit the ball. I mean, Mike Trout had the worst season of his career last year, and he finished 5th in the MVP race. So let that sink in. Hit a bad season for Mike Trout is finishing 5th in the MVP race, almost hitting 300 and being 2nd or 3rd in the league in home runs. I think he had 17 last year. So let that sink in. That's Mike Trout for you. He's going to hit. So Shohei Ohtani, he's a big question mark. From what I understand, the Angels this year are not going to baby him. In years past, it's been, okay, Shohei Ohtani, he throws his inning. He doesn't hit the day before his start, and he doesn't hit the day after his start. So he's really only hitting 5 days a week, and he's pitching 1 day a week. So it's tough to get into a rhythm as a hitter in that way. So now he is going to hit every day of the week except the day he pitches. That's the news out of LA's camp. I don't know. It could be true. Might not be when we get into the season and if he can handle that load. But all I know right now, Shohei Ohtani looks amazing at the plate. He looks amazing on the mound. He's throwing 100-mile-an-hour fastballs, and he is hitting balls over the batter's eye. The batter's eye is 420 feet from home plate at LA Stadium, and he is hitting it over. Here's the clip from earlier in spring training. This is disgusting.
The 3rd time today he's had a walk and a ground out. Full count. We'll see what gives again on Shohei. There goes Adele again, and Shohei blasts the ball into dead center field. That one's out by the batter's eye, and it clears the batter's eye. A home run and a bomb there by Shohei Ohtani. It's 420 to dead center, and he cleared the batter's eye. That was big-time power right there. Tape measure.
So Shohei Ohtani looks amazing right now. His stats in spring training so far, he's hitting .571 with 5 home runs and 8 RBIs, and he's throwing 100-mile-an-hour fastballs off the mound. So if he can continue this into the season over 162 games, that's probably not going to happen. He's going to calm down. Obviously, if he hit .571 over the season, it would be, people all over the world would hear about it. That people don't even have computers or don't even follow baseball would hear about it. That's how big a news it would be. But Shohei Ohtani, if he could hit 20 home runs and he wins 12 games on the mound, I think he's the MVP. I don't think you can even have that debate just because it's so hard. It's not even so hard. Nobody does it. Nobody pitches, starts games, and hits as a DH and can do both above average. So Shohei Ohtani is in the running for the MVP, and obviously Mike Trout, his buddy, Anthony Rendon, they're right there with him. So Fletcher lead off, Ohtani, Trout, Rendon. You're going to get probably close to 90 to 100 home runs between these 4 guys if they hit like they are capable of, which would be awesome. David Fletcher is not a big power guy, but he should give you 10. And the thing about Fletcher is he's going to get on base. He's going to have an on base of 340, 350, which is great with the guys behind him. And the thing about Los Angeles' lineup that's so dangerous is pitchers need to throw to these guys. Pitchers need to pick their poison. Now, I don't know, in that 2, 3, 4, even 5 with Justin Upton, who's going to hit 26 home runs this year, that's a tough choice if you're a pitcher. I don't know who I would want to pitch to out of Trout, Rendon, Ohtani, Upton. Then you got Jared Walsh, too. Even Jared Walsh, who's playing first base for him, he's going to be a 320 on-base guy. He's going to hit over 20 home runs. This team has power. Now, the thing I'm afraid about with the Angels is the bottom of their lineup. This is not a team that can win in the postseason with a lineup like this if Ohtani does perform. Because if Ohtani doesn't perform, they're not winning anything this year. We've seen it. We've seen Mike Trout be great for the past 10 years, and they haven't been able to do anything. So this team is really reliant on Shohei Ohtani. The bottom of the order, Dexter Fowler, Jose Iglesias, and Max Stasey. None of these guys impress me at all. They should barely break 300 with their OBP, and they will not hit that well. They will not bring any power numbers to the table. Right around 10 home runs, maybe a couple more, a couple less, give and take, depending on how the season goes. So the bottom of Los Angeles' lineup is going to hurt them this year. You know what else is going to hurt them? Their pitching. I don't know why this angers me. This angers me. Los Angeles is a big market team. Now, I know they are in the shadows of the Los Angeles Dodgers, but the Angels want to win, the fans want to win, and this team has money to win, which is a lot of teams wish they had money to spend. They don't spend money. Now, the pitcher who went to the Los Angeles Dodgers, Trevor Bauer, was on the open market this year. Obviously, he wanted to come to LA. He was going to come to LA for the right price. The right price for him was $102 million over 3 years. I mean, early in contract extensions, it seemed like the Angels made a play at him, but they didn't do enough to get the job done, which really bothers me. This is a team that was they were a Trevor Bauer away from being very good. I don't know if they were a Trevor Bauer away from a World Series competitor or contender, but they were a Trevor Bauer away from being dominant. And they didn't go get him. So now Andrew Heaney is going to headline the rotation, followed by Dylan Bundy, Jose Quintana, Alex Cobb. I like all these guys. They're average pitchers, 4 to a 4.5 ERA. They're going to have a decent strikeout rate. Andrew Heaney's a pretty good strikeout guy. He should be in the 180 strikeout range. Dylan Bundy, he's been around a long time. He should be a 170 strikeout guy. Jose Quintana, Alex Cobb, Griffin Canning. You got Shohei Ohtani, obviously, in the sixth spot in the rotation. But these guys were a Trevor Bauer away from definitely winning this division, from maybe winning a few playoff games. I mean, Trevor Bauer could have made a difference for these guys, and they just didn't go out and get him. There was also a guy like a Jake Odorizzi who they didn't go out and get. So I'm a little bummed out with the Angels. I still think they'll be pretty damn good this year, but are they going to be as good as they could have with that one arm? No. In the bullpen, Rosell Iglesias, Mike Myers, Felix Pena, Jaime Barria, and Alexander Claudio are going to carry most of the innings this year for these guys. I think they'll have a lot of innings of work just because of the situation in the starting rotation. I mean, all these guys are good, but they're going to have their off nights where Trevor Bauer, his off nights are definitely fewer than Andrew Heaney, Dylan Bundy, Jose Quintana, Alex Cobb, Griffin Canning, and even Shohei Ohtani. It's hard to hit and pitch, and Shohei Ohtani is going to have his off days. I know he's throwing 100-mile-an-hour fastballs, but to be able to do it consistently, we will see. My biggest question with them is, why did they not go after Trevor Bauer and Mike Trout coming off a down year? He is a guy that deserves a championship. He deserves it. Like, Mike Trout needs a championship. He's won 3 MVPs. He is a guy that is he is baseball. He's the face of baseball, but the problem is he's in an organization that does not want to win, and he is locked up there for life. So Los Angeles, in coming years, please do me a favor. This offseason, go get a pitcher, go get someone that can win you guys a championship and put one in Mike Trout's pocket because he deserves it. And then my question for them is, too, what is Albert Pujols going to give them in the DH spot off the bench? He will probably DH for Shohei Ohtani when he is pitching. So what is Albert Pujols going to do? Is he reputable at this point in his career? I don't think he is. I hope the Angels don't re-sign him. He's, obviously one of the best hitters of all time, but I just don't think he's going to be able to get into a rhythm this year. I think he should call it a career while he's still on top. If he can hit, if he can provide a little pop out of the DH spot when Ohtani's on the mound, it's really going to benefit the Angels. I think it's going to help them win a few more games. I think it's going to help Ohtani get to that point where he might be the MVP, because the more runs he gets when he's on the mound, the more wins it's going to generate, and wins and home runs that he hits at the plate is going to give him the MVP award. And then finally, the Astros. This is a new generation of Astros baseball, even though they are still considered cheaters. In a lot of people's mind, this is a new generation. They got Dusty Baker now. We're a year removed from the scandal being released. So the Astros should be pretty damn good again, as usual. It's just who the Astros are. Will they be as good as they were when they saw the signs or when they knew a pitch was coming? I don't think so, but we'll leave that for another time. I know I pick on the Astros a lot, but hey, it's all in good nature. It's all in good fun. I actually think it was good for the sport because it put the sport on the map. I mean, everyone knew, but even if you didn't like baseball, you knew the Astros cheated, and it brought more people to watch baseball because they said, oh, we got scandals in baseball. Baseball is actually entertaining now. But we'll save that for another day. Jose Altuve is going to lead off. Altuve is coming off a very, very bad year. He had 219 last season. He had 286 OBP, and he had 5 home runs. That's not the Jose Altuve we know. He's over 30 now. He's past his golden years. He's past his prime years. What does he have left? Is he going to show up? Is he going to be a guy that can hit 20 to 25 home runs in the leadoff spot or not? I don't know. I tend to think no. Last season showed me a lot about Altuve, and I just don't think he's the same player as he was when the Astros were in that World Series conversation. But, who knows? Here's a picture of Altuve. That was back when they were cheating. And there's Carlos Correa, too. Carlos Correa, he is a shortstop. His contract is up at the end of the season. He's going to be in free agency in a huge, huge free agency pool for shortstops. Another thing to note, the Astros offered him an extension. I think it was around $80 million. I could be wrong about that. But Carlos Correa did not believe that was enough money for him because he is worth more. And honestly, on the open market, he is worth a lot more. But he is not willing to take a team-friendly deal. And he said that was disrespectful that they offered him that amount of money. So keep in mind how that's going to factor into this team this year. What are people going to think of him saying it's disrespectful what the front office offered him? Are people going to think he's above the team? Because I'll tell you what, Carlos Correa is not the best player in the class of shortstops coming up. It's Frankie Lindor. And then it's Corey Seager. And then maybe it's Carlos Correa. But Frankie Lindor and Corey Seager are going to dominate the shortstop market. So I don't think Carlos Correa should be so against what the Astros are offering him. His quote did make the national news or national baseball news. So just keep that in mind. See how that factors in this year. He'll bat second. He's a 20 to 25 home run guy. 266, 340 on base. Probably 90 RBIs if Altuve can get on. Michael Brantley will follow him, and then Alex Bregman. I hate Bregman, but I love Bregman. I think he's one of those guys that's great for baseball. He's a future MVP. He could be one of the best players in baseball right now at third base. Got a phenomenal glove. He's going to hit 30 home runs this year. He's going to bat 280. He could have an OBP close to 380, maybe even 390 if Altuve, Correa, and Brantley can get on and help him and make pitchers throw to him. Then you got Yordan Alvarez. Yordan Alvarez is the key to the Astros' success this season. I know this might sound crazy. He's a young guy. He won the Rookie of the Year in 2019, and then he injured his knee last season, so he only played in 2 games. Now, in 2019, he played in 87 games. I know he won the Rookie of the Year. Season's 162. He got called up late to manipulate service time, obviously. He hit .313 with 27 home runs in 87 games. So if he could do something like that over 162, it just adds a whole nother dimension to this Astros lineup that we did not get to see last season. He's going to be very, very good. I think he's one of the best players, but best up-and-coming players in the game today. Then he got Yuli Gurriel, Kyle Tucker, Martin Maldonado, and Miles Straw. All solid players. Martin Maldonado and Miles Straw, they're really weak at the plate. It's going to hurt the Astros, but they're not going to get as many plate appearances. They're probably going to be shuffled in and out for guys on the bench. But the Astros have a pretty stacked upper part of the lineup. 1 through 6, pretty damn good. When you go down past that, it gets a little weak. Now on the mound, on the hill for the starters, Zach Greinke, Lance McCullers, who just signed an extension. Great for Lance McCullers. He got the $80 million extension, and I think they offered Correa in the 120s, but lower than he would want. Lance McCullers is a young guy, great pitcher. Jose Urquidy, Jake Odorizzi, which they went out and got because Framber Valdez fractured his ring finger on his throwing hand the first week of spring training, which made them go out and get Jake Odorizzi. Jake Odorizzi is a former all-star pitcher. He's going to add depth to this lineup. But again, Zach Greinke's pushing 40 years old. Lance McCullers is young and promising. Jose Urquidy, Jake Odorizzi. These are all guys that are young and talented, but no one on this staff is like, wow, in my opinion. Someone else might have a different opinion. Astros fans probably have a different opinion, but these guys are missing that ace. All these guys are great supporting pitchers. Zach Greinke he's coming to the end, but he was phenomenal back in his day. Lance McCullers is going to be that guy that they lean on, but I don't think Lance McCullers is necessarily an ace. He should have 160, 170 strikeouts this year. I want to see an ace hitting 200 strikeouts. I want to see an ace putting together 200 innings of work. Now, he is coming off of Tommy John surgery. Back in 2019, I believe he didn't pitch much last year. He could be something special. He is young, but I want to see someone deliver. I want to see someone throw 200 innings and be a strikeout guy, and I just don't see that with the Astros. Now, Framber Valdez, I know everyone's like, okay, they got Jake Odorizzi. They're still going to be good. But really, you just swap Jake Odorizzi for Framber Valdez. You didn't really get better in that deal. Now, Framber Valdez is going to be back at some point. I think he had a 12-week. He's going to miss at least 12 weeks without getting the surgery, but we'll see. Now, when they get Framber Valdez back, they're going to be pretty good. But the question is, can Framber Valdez pitch after what had happened? How long is he going to take to get adjusted back to Major League Baseball after this injury, after fracturing the finger on your ring finger? I mean, when you think about throwing pitches, when you think about the ball coming off, your ring finger, not super important, might be important for some off-speed stuff, but still, it's going to be a disruption. It's not going to feel good, obviously, when you're throwing 100 or 95 mile an hour fastballs and off-speed stuff. So keep an eye on that when he does return. But the Astros aren't even thinking about him right now because he is so far away from getting back to the lineup. Close-wise, Ryan Presley is going to close. Should have 30 saves this year. The Astros are going to be a team that asks a lot out of him because they are going to have leads late in the game. I think he'll have like a 3.3 ERA. Really, really good strikeout pitcher. Should have about 75 to 80 strikeouts in 62, 63, 64 innings of work. But we'll see. I think he'll have a really good save percentage this year, but only time will tell. But the Astros expect them to count on him a lot this season. Behind him, Anoli Paredes, Pedro Baez. I love Pedro Baez, LA guy. He is going to be great this year. Just count on it. He is a guy he's on the DL right now, but he should return soon. I think he'll throw 50 to 60 innings, have a low 4 ERA, but just consistent. Hard fastball. Really, really efficient guy. Works hard. Great pickup by them. So this is the new era of Astros baseball. The Astros are officially past the sign stealing scandal. Dusty Baker is leading the team now. Who I love Dusty Baker. I think all baseball loves Dusty Baker. But it's a new era. Let's move on. Let's move past what had happened and go out and win. The Astros are still going to be good. They got a few free agency questions coming at the end of the season, but they're going to be good. They're still in the hunt for a championship. And I think we forget last year, the Astros almost came back from 3-0 in the ALCS against the Rays. They almost did it. They forced a Game 7. We forget about that because they lost. Nobody remembers losers. But the Astros are dangerous. Watch out for them this season. They are my pick to win this division. I think fall by Oakland. I still have some doubts about the Angels. The Angels will finish third, and then the Mariners and the Rangers will round up the last two spots. So go Astros. I think they're going to get it done this year. Let's hope they do, because everyone likes the Astros being good because we love to hate the Astros. So we'll see if we get that opportunity in 2021. So let's get into some news around the league. Luke Voit is going to miss the first month of the regular season, which means Jay Bruce, who is going to make the team. People were questioning if Jay Bruce was going to make the team. This solidified it. Jay Bruce played well in spring training. I think he deserved to make the team whether Luke Voit was on the roster or not. But Luke Voit has a torn meniscus in his left knee. It's going to require surgery. It's a minimal tear. He's going to get it done in New York this week, so he should be back as soon as possible. Last season, Voit hit 22 bombs. He was 9th in the MVP race, so it's a big loss for them. Now, there's been a lot of injuries around the league. Another one of those guys is George Springer in the AL East. Springer is going to start the season on the injured list. Probably, it's not confirmed yet, but from what it sounds like he is. I mean, he's only hitting off the tee today. He said he felt okay hitting off the tee today, and the season starts on Thursday. They actually open up against New York, so it's good Luke Voit's out because the Blue Jays, if Springer's out, it's good Luke Voit's out because it'll even the score between the two teams. Springer has a grade 2 oblique strain, which no one thought anything of it. People were like, oh, it's no big deal. But it's causing a lot of problems for him. Now Jonathan Davis is going to make the team in his place. Has a phenomenal glove. He's going to be a Gold Glover. He's a young prospect in the organization. He's hit .294. He has an .841 on base plus slugging in the spring training so far. Great defensive outfield. That's what he brings to the table. He's got a better glove than George Springer. George Springer is there to hit the ball in the leadoff spot. So Springer's loss is definitely going to hurt them offensively, but Jonathan Davis should help in the outfield or the DH spot while Springer is gone. Now, finally, if you hate Trevor Bauer, I don't like you. Unless you watch Between the Lines. But seriously, a lot of people hate Trevor Bauer. He is such a good guy. He's had his past. He has made his mistakes on Twitter in the past, but he helped out a bullying victim by giving him a great day at spring training. A young boy named Cannon celebrated his 11th birthday at Dodger spring training thanks to Trevor Bauer. Now, Cannon's family moved from Arizona to Texas a year ago, and then he had to go to a new school. He got bullied at that school, and then he had to go to a whole nother school because his old school shut down from COVID. permanently, and then he got bullied again. So Trevor Bauer heard about this, and he invited him out to spring training, invited the family out, got the family some hats, got Cannon a jersey, which you can see right here. And on the jersey, it said, "It's cool to be different, keep being you," which is so true. So this great stuff coming from Trevor Bauer. Here's the interview that Bauer gave after the game, talking about why he did what he did for Cannon and the family.
Actually, I forget exactly how it came about, but I was made aware, he's had a kind of a rough year in school, getting bullied. And that's a story that I can identify with, because that was my entire childhood. I got bullied mercilessly nonstop by kids at school. I hated going to school, and I was miserable for 17 years of my life. So I just wanted to try to do something special for him and give him some hope that, things get better and keep being himself and all that. So signed the jersey for him, got some hats for the family, got tickets for him to come out and try to have a positive experience. And it was a beautiful day, and they got to see an entertaining ball game. So hopefully it makes a positive impact.
Now, Trevor Bauer, I think, is the most misunderstood man in baseball. I think he has a great heart. Like I said, he's made some mistakes before on Twitter, and he's gotten trashed for it, but he has a great heart. He means well. He's a competitor. He's fun for this game. He's fun to watch. He's what makes baseball special, in my opinion, players like him. So, Trevor, thank you for sharing this. Really made my day seeing on Twitter. I know it made a lot of other people's day. Actually, Cannon's name was trending on Twitter because of this story with Trevor Bauer. So it was a really, really good story, and people outside the baseball community took to it as well, because it's clear, because it was trending. So thank you, Trevor. So this does it for tonight's show. Twitter at Tanner Kern _, Instagram at Tanner Kern if you want to connect with me. I love talking baseball all the time. If you want to send me a message, if you have any question for the show, let me know, and they will be answered on here. Twitter and Instagram at BTL Baseball Show. You can also connect with the show and me on that channel as well. And then please subscribe to the Between Lines Baseball YouTube channel. It's going to start taking up with a lot of content coming. We get some exciting news moving forward, and I'm going to be posting a lot more stuff on there once the season gets going. So please remember to follow that as well. Thank you for joining me tonight. Happy Sunday night. Hope everyone has a great start to the week. And remember, it's almost opening day, a national holiday. It should be a national holiday. It's almost here on Thursday. So push hard Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then watch a lot of baseball this week. I'll be back on Tuesday night for another show, and then Thursday as well. So thank you once again. Have a great night, and I will talk to you guys on Tuesday.
Up there swinging. Backer throws. There's a left back. It's going to be, I believe, the Giants from the Pellets. The Giants from the Pellets. The Giants
Over
from
to
the
right field,
Pellets.
scoring miles ahead of him. It's number 12 for Mandolin World Series.
Action. There's a hard drive. It's a deep right. And forget about it. It is gone. The ball game's over.
In the Los Angeles Bulls. Watson hits it high in the air. For the center fielder, Ken Landreau, this should do it. The Dodgers are the 1981 champions of baseball.
He's that number today with 3 hits. This could be 4. Back it goes. It's over. The Red Sox win, and they're moving on.
Putting his team ahead. The Dodgers, who hit 118 home runs during the regular year, have just hit their 16th home run of the championship series.